Hi, everyone. Welcome to Career Conversations. I'm Meera Jogasundram. Our guest today, Randy Johnston, was a business school faculty member at 5 universities. As a faculty member, he had the opportunity to develop and teach a business ethics course. The course included research and discussion topics with respect to environmental issues, human rights issues, and animal rights issues. The discussions were impactful to many enrolled in the course and to Randy as well. Subsequent to leaving academia, he has written dozens of opinion articles with the goal being to create awareness of the various consequences associated with personal choices. Your choice and my choice. Randy is committed to creating awareness and critical thinking. Hi, Randy.
Hey, hello. Thank you for having me.
You are very welcome. It's a pleasure to have you on board. How are you feeling today?
I'm doing well. It's a nice wintry day in northern New York State. And after our discussion today, I'm going to go cross country skiing. So I'm looking forward to the discussion and I get to go skiing after. So all is well.
Wow, wow. Yeah, all is well and you're looking very well.
Thanks.
Tell us about your career journey, Randy.
Basically, it really began when I was 23 years old. Out of the blue, I had a chance to go to college. I hadn't done that really since I'd gotten out of high school. And for once in my life, I decided, hey, I need to take this seriously. So I took that opportunity very seriously and studied hard, something I'd never done in my life, and ended up doing well and got a bachelor's degree and I got a master's degree. And then I went to Penn State to get a PhD because I thought that was the direction I really had to go. And I was in that program a couple of years and realized I didn't really enjoy the research and accounting, but I certainly liked teaching, that was for sure. But anyway, I had to get out because I wasn't progressing in the program. So I went and met the chairperson at the time. I hadn't met him. He was a new chair, just came into the university and the school and introduced myself, told him I was getting out of the PhD program and told him the reasons why. And said, it's unfortunate. I think I'm good at teaching, but I realize it's time to move on. So he listened to me and I leave his office thinking I'm on my way to the business world. And I'm finishing up teaching that semester and thinking about what I'm going to do next. And I run into the chairperson in the mailroom one day, and out of the blue, he offered me a non-tenure track faculty position to stay at Penn State University. So I ended up staying there about 17 years, and I went to 4 different business schools after that. And having that opportunity to go to college certainly changed my direction. I took the opportunity seriously, and I ran that table in the educational world for about 38 years. It was fun. Probably the most rewarding teaching experience. It's hard to label something as most rewarding because there were a lot of them during those years, but the most rewarding experience that kind of motivates me today is back in 2012 fall semester. I had an opportunity out of the blue because someone wasn't going to be able to teach a fall ethics course. And they asked me if I'd do it, and I was always up for doing overload, even though I'd never taught ethics before. But so I started out the first semester with an ethics book that was kind of handed down to me from the previous professor. And I had an accounting theory book, and it was kind of case-based. And for me, it was kind of boring. And I don't really know how it all happened, but eventually what ended up happening is that course became very specifically topic related with respect to environmental issues, animal rights issues, human rights issues. I would just give the students, for example, a topic, maybe research the environmental consequences of animal agriculture, give them a couple links. They would, as a group of about 40 in those classes, would do the research and they would come back and share with each other what they learned. And I would just moderate the discussion. And seeing the changes in the lives of people through the various topics, whether it be aspartame, for example, or bottled water, or consumption of these various products, or human rights issues. It was just awesome. And I honestly think I probably learned more from the course than anybody else did, because I had multiple semesters of it with people from around the world in that class. And one of the requirements in the course was that they had to bring a topic to the discussion, and they had to provide me with at least 2 topic areas that they wanted to discuss. So that changed the whole direction in many respects, because many of the ideas that came from them I didn't know of. So it was really fun. It was a great course, and I've learned a lot from it. And I kind of really is what I live today. I see so many different things, and it takes me back to that course. So I just try to create awareness through the topics when I see them, and through the different avenues that I might have. And that's kind of really where my heart is at this point. But I remember it was fall of probably 17 or so. There was a business school faculty meeting, and I remember looking around at the beginning of that semester and thinking, what am I doing here? Because it would just, yeah, sure, I could teach accounting, but I just wasn't me. And yeah, I really resonate right now with, creating awareness with respect to animal rights. I've written quite a few letters and articles regarding that, and I continue to do that and plan to do that. But I also write in other areas as well. One of the areas I'm trying to push the local media with currently is Roundup use in our big dairy farms here. It's used, obviously. There are a lot of health consequences in other areas where that kind of farming setup per se is set up. And there was just another article that followed a day later about how Roundup is becoming ineffective. So I push the issues. It's just kind of the way I am. But when I see these things, I think people need to be aware of it. And I feel sorry for the people, living in those farming environments. I guess that's a long answer to your question, but
No, no, no. I have kept in mind two questions before we come to what you do presently.
right.
Now, the first question is, I'll let you answer the first question, then I'll go to the second one.
Okay.
Why or what made you decide to stop your PhD program?
I just didn't enjoy the research in accounting. It was that simple. I just didn't connect to it. I didn't like it. I liked teaching, but I didn't enjoy the research. The articles I would read, I just couldn't relate to. I didn't see the relevance of it. And it wasn't me. I just didn't enjoy the literature. It was that simple. And I
So
could
when
see
you applied for the program, did you have an idea of what you were getting into?
no, I had no clue.
Okay. Okay, that explains.
Yeah, the people in the master's program, basically where I was getting my master's degree, knew I was into teaching or wanted to go into teaching. I'd actually done some at that point too. And they advised me to get a PhD if I really wanted to go into teaching. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do that. I just got a bachelor's degree and I got a master's degree. So yeah, I'll go get another degree in accounting. That's no big deal. But it was quite
Okay.
different than what I expected. And the bottom line is I didn't connect with the research. If I had connected with that, I would have stuck it out. I just didn't enjoy the research. So I just kind of moved on from there. And it worked out well. I can't complain.
Sure, of course. It takes a lot of courage to be true to yourself. That's a big decision.
I just knew there wasn't a way forward for me. So I had to get out, in the best way that I could at that time.
Second question. You said that you looked around and you asked yourself, what am I doing here? Tell us more about that.
Well, that's tough to explain. It's just that I wasn't into the business school model and the politics anymore, I guess. I didn't see a lot coming out of that other than the education side of it. And I was more into raising issues, and both there and otherwise. And I don't know, I just didn't feel at home anymore per se. And it wasn't that there was a problem with me at that point, as far as my job security or anything like that. It's just, I'd done it a long time, and I guess maybe something else was pulling me in a different direction that day. Maybe I didn't know what it was. I just knew when I was sitting there, this isn't what I should be doing anymore. I need to do something different. I just took it from there. I think I resigned about a year and a half later, and ever since then, I've been writing letters. When I first left the university setting, I ended up on Long Island, where the commercial fishing industry is pretty big. So what's Randy do? Gets involved with the commercial fishing issues. So you walk the ocean, you see all the debris from the commercial fishing boats that was washed up on the shore, the netting and the hooks and the whatever else. And then you see the bycatch as I'm walking the shore. I had photos of bycatch, and just, it was sad, really. It was interesting to teach the course and to teach these subject matters. We researched, the students did, the environmental consequences of the fishing industry bycatch, fishing industry pollution. And next thing you know, I'm walking the shoreline and I'm living it. Well, I just had it in the classroom. So do I just walk by it and ignore it? No, I can't walk by it and ignore it. So I get involved with local media there. I ended up getting involved in local politics because of recycling and a few other issues. And I just what I am right now. I don't know what to say. It's my calling. And every day I get up and I think about writing something different. But I'd like to find a team kind of to work with, because I'm kind of a one-man show right now, per se, as far as my writing efforts and stuff like that. And I do have one really excellent co-author in the animal rights issue. She's been involved with a couple of my recent articles, the Peace on Earth article. That was around Christmas time, and she was also involved with the article that I wrote about Thanksgiving dinner. She's great, and hoping we'll be writing again soon together. So I'm into writing, and I'm into creating awareness, and I'm not sure. It's kind of all unfolding for me right now, actually. I'm not sure how it's all going to play out. I have a couple inquiries about some activism jobs with some animal rights groups, and one of those plays out, I'll do that and continue doing what I'm doing as well.
Tell us more about how you were drawn to animal rights, becoming vegan.
Yeah, I did, like most, I grew up, was introduced to carnism, eating animal products or whatever, through my parents. And I didn't really question it too much. There were some things I liked and didn't like, and I, phased some things out over the years. It was spring of 2012, almost 12 years ago. Actually, it was about this time of year. On February 7th of that year, I decided I'm going to go vegan. And at that point, I was really close. I mean, I hadn't had red meat in probably 20 plus years. At that point, I hadn't had any chicken or anything like that in probably 5 or 10 years. I'll say 5 years to be conservative. So the only thing I had left at the beginning of 12 to eliminate was some salmon that I was eating, some fish, and some kefir. I was putting some of that in my smoothies. And February 7th, I had a little calendar, and I still have that calendar on my desk. I just had a piece of paper. I wrote down the date, and I weighed myself, and I started the journey. And then I became vegan that day. And fortunately, while being in Boulder, there were good vegan restaurants. There were good vegan meetup groups. So I would meet a lot of people through that. So I got into those things. And that's how I became aware of the activism side of it for animals, through people that were going to those meetings or those lunches. I'd meet these people, and that's what they were into more than anything. I just went into it just to do it. I didn't have any health issues. I just wanted to try to do it. So I really became aware of animal rights, through that group. And then I, taught it. I shouldn't say teach it, because I didn't teach it. I introduced animal rights to students in the ethics course, and it was an easy transition for me. It just, after that, it's really what motivates me more now than anything else. If you ask, why might someone be vegan? You'd say, or I would say, nutritionally, environmentally, and ethically, spiritually, with the ethical, spiritual side of it being whatever it might be for that person from an animal rights point of view. So when you put all three things together, I think you don't really have a better direction to go. So I got into animal rights basically once I became vegan because of the people I met in Boulder, Colorado. And I just took it from there. I saw their hearts. I knew what they were into. They were going to slaughterhouses and taking pictures when the trucks arrived or whatever. And I knew the people that were doing it, and I saw the photos, and it kind of woke me up.
Yeah.
More so. And I realized that they're no different than my dog. I mean, they're suffering, the poor things. It was interesting. After getting up here, I keep asking myself, why am I back up here? This is where I'm from initially, is this area. And it's probably within the first 2 weeks that I was here, I went into town and I'm at a red light, and this vehicle pulls up next to me. It was like 12 degrees below zero in the morning. And it was a truck pulling cows to take them to the slaughterhouse. So that's their first ride, if you think about it, and it's 12 degrees below zero, and in an open trailer basically. And I thought, wow, here I am again living the ethics course. It's right next to me at the street light, So I feel sorry for the critters. And you drive by the factory dairy farms here. They're now 3,000, 5,000 or more cows. They don't get out and pasture at all. They're using Roundup, like I said, and their crops to feed them. It's just a sad state of affairs. I don't think that industry is really necessary. And the consequences of it all are, fairly extreme.
Yeah, sadly, it's a very sad state.
It
What are
is.
the, yeah, what are the challenges you encounter?
What are the challenges I encounter at a personal level? Like-minded people, finding them. Yeah, that's always a challenge at this point in time. I think that a lot of people, family otherwise, probably view my perspective as being extreme or different, because it is in their minds. From a vegan point of view, I would say those are the two biggest issues. It's just finding like-minded people, having a network to connect with. I mean, my best connections in the last year or so that I've been here are conversations like this with some people that I've met through LinkedIn and otherwise, who are on the same page that I am, and we can talk for hours sometimes, But so the biggest challenge I would say is finding like-minded people, and it's just kind of isolating in many respects, but that's okay. I think most people that are activists are kind of isolated in some ways. I'm honored to be doing it, and I enjoy it. It's just who I am at this point. But from a health point of view, I'd say it's the best thing I've ever done. I'm in my mid-60s. I don't take any prescription drugs. I'm going Nordic skiing after I'm done talking to you. So I think things are pretty good. So that's not a challenge at all. And I don't find eating, a healthy vegan diet any challenge. I mean, I consume a whole foods, plant-based diet basically, and things as close to nature as possible. And don't try to buy a lot of processed foods. And I think it pays off. I think that's really the direction we should be going. I think it would be easier to go that way than to go some of the other approaches that are out there now, but I don't want to be negative about that here. Yeah, I just think it's the way to go. Eat as close to nature as you can, whole foods, plant-based, and if you have the variety and take a couple supplements, it should be pretty simple and you'll thrive.
Well said, Randy. What's your take on what more can be done? On what more can be done for these animals, the pigs, the cows, the ducks, the chickens, they're being killed by the millions every day?
Well, I think it starts with education. I'm an educator, and I told you kind of in simple terms what happened through the ethics course that I taught when people were aware of the issues. So I think it begins, and it's hard to do. It's going to take some time to create that change, but I think it begins at a younger age with creating that awareness in our schools. And our schools don't do that. Obviously, they're promoting the status quo. It starts with not just schools, meaning K-12, but our universities bringing that kind of stuff into the classroom on a regular basis, or through their programs, through their food choices, etc. I really think education is the key. I mean, I'm an educator, so why would I think differently? I've seen it happen. But it's a few things. I think everybody responds differently. I think some people are into the animal rights issues, but not enough, I don't think. Some people are into the environmental issues. If they're environmentalists, that might create the change. And again, there's enough literature. I mean, I consider it to be persuasive that if you're not doing well health-wise, you might want to think about changing your diet and start eating whole foods that are plant-based. Would be a lot better off. I think it's pretty clear that that's the situation.
Do you encounter any resistance when you try to get your message across?
I do with local media outlets because they don't want to publish sometimes my letters, but other than that, I don't get resistance per se. I mean, I don't have that in my life right now. I guess you could say back to when I was teaching the ethics course, the administration challenged me because they said my ethics course was promoting veganism. Well, I never used the word veganism. I did animal rights. I guess that's veganism. I did environmental, externalities of animal agriculture. So where would those things take you? Maybe, they would accuse me of teaching veganism and tell me I can't do that anymore. And I just ignored it and kept doing it. And then I had the opportunity, we think it was around 2013, 2014, somewhere around there, maybe a year later, to get involved with the Sustainability Accounting Standards Board. The Sustainability Accounting Standards Board is an organization that was put together to create reporting standards for various industries, including meat, dairy, and poultry. And I was able to be a member of what they call a working group for their original draft. So I saw literature from all around the world regarding the environmental side of it, because that's really what the reporting was about. Water use, water polluted, whatever it might be. And I saw that literature, and to me, that was accounting. And you can't tell me I can't bring it into the classroom because the Sustainability Accounting Standards Board is working on these things right now. And I just kept doing what I was doing. I think the biggest resistance overall would be probably where I live, at least, would be the dairy farming industry, because they're so ingrained. And I think a lot of people are resistant to change because of their cultures, and they have gatherings and they're used to eating certain things. But that's not a personal resistance that I'm experiencing. I'm just sharing, I think, some of the things that might hold people back. So I don't really have a lot of resistance at this point, other than local media outlets. And I've been pretty successful with that. I've written quite a few things, and they're pretty much publishing what I'm writing. So yeah, not a lot of resistance.
Randy, don't you think it's ironic that veganism is perceived to be a form of extremism, and killing innocent animals by the millions daily is considered normal?
Well, it goes back to our conditioning. We were
Absolutely.
conditioned, to think that way. And I don't think veganism is extreme. I mean, I think
No, but
anybody,
there is this uh, idea being promoted
right?
that
No,
vegans are extremists, and veganism is extremism.
yeah, I don't view it as extremism at all. And I can't speak to those who think that it is. I mean, I think they're saying that because of the animal rights issues per se, and they are using that as a form of cognitive dissonance and to defend what they're doing. And I just, I don't view it as extreme at all. What's extreme is continuing the path that you were introduced to and not thinking twice about it. So I grew up eating meat and dairy products like others did, but since then, fortunately, I've thought about it. I've had other information brought forward to me, and I've analyzed the situation. I just don't think there's a need to continue that direction. I don't view it as extreme as far as veganism goes. Is the killing of the animals extreme? Well, of course it is, because, like I said, the animals that are in the farming mode, and some of them in some countries are actually dogs, as we know. But here in the United States, my dog would not be in that model of food supply, but the cow and the pig, et cetera, are no different than my dog. They all suffer, and they don't provide products that are healthy. So they're suffering. The animals are not providing healthy products, and there are so many environmental externalities. I mean, if you think about, the animal processing product, a part of it, the meat part in particular, imagine working in a slaughterhouse. So when you buy those products, you're promoting that type of work. And look at the literature regarding the mental consequences of people that work in the slaughterhouses. I mean, it's not a good place to be. You're killing one animal after the other, day after day after day, and it's not a good. It's just sad. So yeah, it is extreme. But again, I think the way to go about it is through education. And I think the more information we get out there, whether it be conferences, rallies, protests, letters, whatever, things will change slowly. Things are certainly a lot better than they were a couple decades ago. There's certainly a lot more awareness. And I can assure you that in the area I'm in right now, I don't think anybody else has been doing the writing that I am up here. So I think you just have to get the information out there. There was just an article that came out a couple months ago. It was in December, actually. It's from the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease about diet and Alzheimer's. And they said basically there are two leading factors: meat and ultra processed foods.
Yeah.
So what do we see around here when I go to the grocery stores? Meat. And I can't believe it, really, when I go to the grocery store. Like, wow, ultra processed foods. So that I'm thinking, okay, I'm sure there are people that some of these readers might know that have Alzheimer's. This is a recent article. It's saying not to eat meat, but what it also does at the same time is to promote the consumption of fruits and vegetables, and it tells you why you should be consuming them. Then I tied it in with the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. They have a website on Alzheimer's, and they basically say not to eat any animal products. So I quoted them, cited the literature. And so if I look at that, it sounds like I'm promoting a health issue. This is a reason you should consider not eating the animals or whatever, because you might get Alzheimer's. Check this literature out. Sure, that's true. Some people probably do know someone and they're going to think twice about it. But for me, it's, hey, another animal maybe will be saved. They won't be torturing that poor being anymore. Every dog I've had has had a different personality. Anybody that's been around cows or pigs will tell you the same thing. Every cow has a different personality. They have a different soul. Every cow or pig, whatever, they're all different beings. And we kind of ignore that. And we treat them all as a commodity or a thing in the animal processing world.
And fish are very conveniently overlooked here as well.
Yeah.
They feel pain, they feel pain. They do feel, they bleed,
Right.
they
Well,
suffer.
interesting because that you mentioned that, because I mentioned when I went to Long Island, the commercial fishing industry was there. And of course, what does Randy do? He writes letters about commercial fishing, to the editor or whatever. And I met this one editor of a paper, and he told me that if I wrote an article about fish sentience, that he would publish it. So I write it. And he's not publishing it. He's not.
Oh.
And then I run into him one day at one of these political rallies. I got invited to him, the political things, for different reasons. He was there. I don't remember his name. And I said to him, you told me that you would publish that if I wrote it. And after I said that to him at that meeting, he published it a week or so later. So there was a whole, half of a page or a quarter of a page in this local newspaper, which is big in the commercial fishing industry, about fish sentience. So yeah, the fish suffer just as much as the cows do. You think about the fish, regardless of the source. Look at the quality of the water that they're living in.
Exactly.
Our waters are so polluted.
Yes.
I mean, the plastic. You look at the stuff that's in the ocean, and there's, a lot of these fish are loaded with microplastics and chemicals, and so why would you want to consume a fish? Health wise, and from an animal rights point of view, yeah, they suffer too. And the bycatch is really sad. When I was on Long Island, there was a whale caught in some netting that was being used to catch fish, and the whale was bycatch. They were fortunately able to release it. I was walking the shoreline one day, and all of a sudden in front of me, I see like 100 fish on the shore, and they're all dead.
Oh.
I get up to it, and I'm like, what's this? And all the fish looked the same. They looked like they were little sharks. But they weren't sharks, but I didn't know. So I took pictures of it and I shared it with local media outlets. And they said that they were dogfish and they were bycatch. You could tell by the gills, the way the gills were damaged. So they catch these dogfish. Hey, we don't want dogfish. And they just throw them overboard, and they up on the shoreline. Sad. Yeah, the poor fish. I mean, all the animals are certainly being abused by us, to say the least.
Heartbreaking.
It is. It's sad. I just don't understand the slowness of the evolution in that awareness. But all we can do is just, keep doing what we're doing and take it one step at a time.
There's a difference between being genuinely not aware and intentionally choosing not to become aware.
It's funny that you say that. There was a good book that I referenced in the ethics course, and the title is Comfortably Unaware by Richard Oppenlander. Listen to that, comfortably unaware. That's just what you're describing, you know. And that was about being comfortably unaware. The book was about the environmental issues with respect to animal agriculture, water use, water pollution, etc. The title of that book was great. I used to mention it to the students. And now that you're comfortably aware, what are you going to do? You know, so yeah, true. People would rather just continue doing what they're doing for whatever reasons. I'm not sure, but it's the easiest thing to do. I mean, you're part of a larger group, and you're not having to think on your own. You just keep doing what you were doing, and it's easy to do. It's not the right thing to do, but it takes critical thinking and the willingness to be on your own because of your views.
From my interactions, what I sense is it's almost as if there's they feel fearful, you know, they are afraid of, oh my God, I don't want to know what happens. I don't want to know. Just don't tell me. I don't want to know. So I get the impression that as long as they don't know, they are fine in their bubble. They don't want to know, but they do know that there is some cruelty going on. They just don't want to know more. You know
Yeah,
why, Randy? Because once you know, you cannot not know anymore.
right. I agree. Yeah, that's kind of the way I am for sure. Yeah. Yeah, people want, like we were just talking about, people want to remain comfortably unaware. So you have to find something that takes them to the next level. And again, I think right now what I'm finding to be the case in this area, at least, is if I can create some awareness regarding the health consequences of consuming these products, I'm going to indirectly or directly, however you want to look at it, help these animals out. And they don't have to think about making that decision. They're doing it because they're doing it for their health.
Yeah, that makes it easier, I believe.
Right, I think it does. And so I'll continue to write on animal rights because that's my heart. But my idea of promoting that right now is to find more articles that are current with respect to health issues, and there are quite a few of them out there. Like I said, when I saw the Alzheimer's article, I'm like, okay, I need to do this, and I put it together, and it's lit in a local paper tomorrow. Actually, it was put online just a couple of days ago because but I had to keep pushing them to write it. Do you think they want to write that you shouldn't be eating dairy in dairy country? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, but I made him do it, so more or less. I don't give up on that stuff, so I think you have to. So that's a challenge, is just getting the information out there. When I had the teaching position, I had the classroom. That was easy. I mean, it was, I'd like to do that again in some other mode. I just don't know how that's going to happen. So we'll see.
Randy, you're doing such admirable work. And what I like is you're finding creative ways of reaching out to people. If they are not receptive to the animal rights angle, why not I try this angle, Alzheimer's? Why not I try another angle? I think that is truly admirable. Thank you for all your efforts.
Hey, it seems to be my calling or my passion, and I enjoy doing it. Actually, I'm honored that I'm able to contribute to what's going on in that whole movement. Yeah, I couldn't think of anything better I'd want to do at this point in time. It's really fun.
Yeah. What is the response to your writing, to your activism, advocacy?
I don't know the answer to that. Like, I'm not the type that's going to write something and then go online and see, hey, what's anybody saying? I don't really know that answer. All I know is that I get enough positive feedback in certain ways that, what am I supposed to got negative feedback? What am I supposed to do? Not do it anymore?
Well, I would imagine that if you get negative feedback, that means you're doing an outstanding job.
Yeah, well, I certainly got a lot of negative feedback. Here's an interesting one. So, June of 23, one of the things we have in northern New York State is Dairy Month, and June happens to be Dairy Month. So the theme for the local Dairy Month was delightfully dairy. And I'm like, are you kidding me? There's nothing delightful.
It's
dairy, whether it
yes,
be
there's
nutritional,
nothing delightful.
right, whether it be nutritional, environmental, or ethical, you know. So I write this short letter to the editor, you know, criticizing them. Three-dimensional, nutritional, environmental, ethical. There's nothing, you know, great about this dairy thing, delightful. And one of the things I put in there, a better theme would have been dairy is scary. And I don't know if you've ever seen the Dairy is Scary YouTube. I attached the Dairy is Scary YouTube. So initially they put it online before they put it in the newspaper, and the Dairy is Scary YouTube was there. I don't see it because I'm not on Facebook and I don't whatever, but some people told me that was people up here were going crazy over it. And of course, most people are critiquing it negatively because they're promoters of dairy.
Of course.
So then what happens is it goes into the newspaper and they took away the Dairy is Scary link. You know, they still wrote my letter, but they took away the link. So why'd they take away the link?
Yeah,
Probably
exactly.
because the industry was probably complaining. You know, it showed a lot of different things. Check it out when you get a chance. Dairy is Scary. You'll see what it's all
I
about.
will. I will. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, Randy, and I'm just wondering how long it will take to, what it
Well,
will take to bring that industry down.
well, I don't. You know, the problem is that the industry feeds the government money
Of course.
through lobbying. You know, and there's a revolving door with our governmental agencies and, you know, Monsanto's of the world and the dairy industry and whatever. And I just don't think there's independent thought with respect to the government. I'm pretty sure there's not. And I think the best way to change again is through education and through grassroots movements, literature, you know, gatherings, things like that. One of the things I did when I was in Colorado, and I wanted to do it when I left, but I haven't really followed through on it, is I had some gatherings at my home at the time. And there were some new DVDs that had just come out, or documentaries like Cowspiracy and What the Health and Seaspiracy. I don't know if you know those. And I would have one on, you know, for a show that night. So people would come up, we'd have a plant-based buffet or, you know, first. And then we'd sit down and watch the film. And then at the end, we'd talk about it. That's the way that you get people to think and change, because they're going to listen to what their friends and their family and their peers are saying, as well as thinking about it themselves. And somebody might say something to them that's a little, that makes them think, and then they take it to the next level. I just think it's all about education. I keep saying that. And I just think that's the direction we need to go.
Yes, you're right about educating the masses, educating everyone, and the ways in which to educate them. I think we have to become more and more creative in reaching out to people with these facts and, you know, information and what actually happens.
Right, I agree. One of the things, a friend of mine who's been vegan for 30 plus years, I just met her and her partner last fall. She worked for an organization, I think it was Farm Animal Rights Movement. And she told me that they had this concept where they'd have letter writing to all the different media outlets across the country. So you might take a letter that I wrote, if everybody's comfortable with it, and you spread it out to all the different people in the area. And then each of those persons sends it out to the media in their name as a letter to the editor. Those are easy things to do, and it doesn't cost any money. Letters to the editor don't cost anything. You just have to be aware of the length. You can only have so many words quite often in the various media outlets. And I think that letters to the editor and opinion pieces are a great way to go because they don't cost any money. Take advantage of the media. It's not costing anything.
Yeah.
I want to try to do that. You know, when she comes back, she's not here in the winter. I'm going to ask her more about it. And, you know, I'm talking to a group now, and we'll see if we can get that going again. I just think it's an easy way to get the message out there, and it doesn't cost any money.
In terms of advocacy and activism, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Doing what I'm doing right now. But hopefully with a larger group of people around me, or I'm a part of a bigger team. You know, right now, like I said, I pretty much work on my own. I'm not involved with any organization. I have, a co-writer, like I said, or a co-author on some things, and she's great. I've learned a lot from her already. I just see myself doing this. I mean, I don't know where it's going to take me, but all I know is that I'm into it, and I see myself just continuing to create awareness and educating people, and how that unfolds in the next few years, I don't really know. I don't know what to say. It's just, I'm doing what I want to do, hopefully for the rest of my life. It took a long time to get to this point. I taught accounting for all those years, and I don't regret it. I had that. It was a great opportunity. It changed my life. And if I wouldn't have had that opportunity, I wouldn't be sitting here today talking to you about these ethics issues. I had the chance to go into the ethics course, and if you'd have asked me, hey, where's this ethics course going to take you in 3 or 4 or 5 years? I'm like, I don't know. And look where it took me, So the way I see it is, I taught that course. We brought all these issues forward, and I'd be a hypocrite for not living the life, not walking the talk. So there are just so many different things, and it's just every day there's something I see that I could write about related to that stuff. So I need to find a way to, have a larger media audience. Have a couple newspapers now that I can publish in this area, and I'm glad to have that. I actually have 3, because I have a student newspaper that'll pretty much publish anything that I write. So I just continue to write, try to create some awareness, and get involved in an organization with like-minded people, so I can learn from them, and we can create some approach for going forward.
Excellent. Now, if someone wants to join you in your efforts, your journey, how would they reach out to you?
Well, I think I provided you with my contact information,
The
right?
contact is, viewers, Randy's contact is included in the description attached to this post. So you can reach out to him via email. But is there anything else that they should be doing? Or
As far as contacting me, you mean?
yes, if
No,
they would like to work with you or co-author with you.
yeah, no, just I think an easy way to connect is email. I mean, as you might know, I might want to meet the person.
Yes, you are very, very careful, cautious when it comes to that. You have to check the person out.
Hey, you never know.
Yes.
Yeah, so
So,
it's my calling, and I'd like to get involved, and I'm working towards that. So I think it'll work.
and it'll always be much better to have a support structure, at
Yeah,
least a team like what you see, so that you can discuss, you can support one another.
right.
And I just hope from the bottom of my heart that you get the support that you require to just move forward with your efforts.
It'll happen. And this is the form of it right here, talking to you and whatever. I mean, it'll happen. It's just, it's a challenge. That's one of the challenges that you asked me about earlier. One of the challenges is connecting with like-minded people. And, regardless, even if I don't in the short run, I'll continue doing what I'm doing. I'll write something most every month, if not more, and go from there.
Because I've been looking at your LinkedIn posts and the articles you write, the articles you share. There's so much of information there.
Well, see,
And I would love for people to read those articles and know what's happening. And your efforts are totally admirable. It's just that more people need to read it.
right. Well, like I said, I came across it because of the ethics course, and I learned about a lot of these issues from the students that were enrolled in that course. So I have to thank them, and
Yeah.
like I said, I can just pick up the media and there'll be something there. I think you saw something about the fashion clothing the other day.
Yes.
And that was something that we talked about, and it's just, oh yeah, I remember that. Cruise ship pollution. I'll see something regarding that. That was a topic in the course. There were just every time I see something, it was like, wow, this course doesn't end. It's there every day. I see literature and it takes me right back to that. So no, it's what it's all about, is being aware as we can. And obviously there are a lot of things I'm not aware of, but I hope to expand my horizons. That's, we want to keep being a part of the educational system and challenging myself.
Randy, there is information and there is dissemination of information. And without the dissemination, the information, the purpose of it is not fulfilled. And that's why what you're doing is so important.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I just need to find a different way to get it out there. Like I said before, when I was teaching the course, it was easy because I had that group every semester. So right now it's the sources that I have are LinkedIn and the writing that I do. But yeah, I don't know. I wish I could do the ethics course again.
You've mentioned that a few times now. You must really like the ethics course.
Oh yeah, it was so rewarding. Yeah, I learned a lot, and like I said, the students learned a lot, and they told me that. I have students that reach out to me today. I've been away from that university for about 4 years now, and I have people that reach out to me, 5 years almost, that reach out to me about the ethics course. And there aren't any students that reach out to me and say, "Hey, Randy, remember that accounting course? I remember that accounting topic just came back to me today." But people have reached out to me recently, and hey, I remember that topic. I thought of you. So yeah, it's great. But again, my message right now is all those other topics you're referencing are great, but at the core, we need to change what's happening with the animals because it's just a sad state of affairs. It's their earth too, and they have a right to be here. And we can eat healthier, and we don't need to eat them. Eating them is contra to health from a variety of perspectives. The sad thing is that our government promotes it, and a lot of nutrition programs don't provide to the students going through their courses the contra, the work done by Colin Campbell or Michael Clapper or Dean Ornish or whoever. They don't provide that information. It's the standard American diet kind of approach to the registered dietitian approach. I remember meeting my neighbor in Colorado, and she was in a dietitian program, and I asked her, "Hey, have you heard of this? Has this been a part of your course?" And she said, "No." Really? So what do? I go into my house, I get the books and the articles, and I take them over to her, but that stuff should have been in the program, but it's not, so there's a lot of biases that we need to change.
What keeps you going, Randy?
I don't know. I'm an activist. It's just, I don't know what to tell you. It's in my heart. It's what I do. I mean, I just feel, when I drive by these large farms, unfortunately, I don't have to drive by them very often. I mean, my heart sinks. So what keeps me going is being the voice for the animals more than anything else, and just trying to create awareness. It's just, I don't know, it's rewarding for me. And if I can get a person or some people to think and to make some changes, and it rewards them from whatever the perspective might be, I couldn't ask for anything better.
I trust that your work will reach many, many more people, Randy.
I hope so.
And I'm sure every animal that has benefited in one way or another from your efforts is extremely grateful to you.
Yeah, thanks.
Let me ask you, what's your definition of owning your career?
That's a tough question. I don't really know the answer to that. I would
Your
say,
definition, your perspective.
yeah, I haven't really thought about it. Owning your career would be, doing what you want to do and following your heart because something is telling you that it has a greater purpose beyond making money. So right now I don't make any money doing what I'm doing because I'm just transitioning into this world, but I continue to write, and I will continue to, whether I make any money or not, but it's not about money. It's just following your heart, I guess, would be the thing. You'll know when you find it.
Absolutely. You've spoken about your career journey for the past 45 minutes or so. How do you feel talking about your career journey?
Well, I'm here, right?
What comes up for you?
You talked me into it, nothing comes up for me. It's just, like I said before, it's just, I wish I would have been doing what I'm doing now years ago, but that's not to take away from the experience that I had. Hindsight's 2020. And like I said, if it wasn't for that experience, I wouldn't have this background. So I'm good. I'm happy with where I'm at, and I'm motivated every day. In fact, once I get a team around me and a few other people, then it'll really be fun because we'll have that synergy, to do certain things, and we'll each have responsibilities beyond my own, and that'll be cool.
Viewers, Randy has mentioned several times that he's looking for a team, a dedicated, committed team. So if you think that you fit the bill, please reach out to Randy, shoot him an email, get in touch.
Yeah, thanks.
Now,
That's not
Randy,
here, but yeah, that's great if that happens.
oh yes, and of course, he would want to meet you at least virtually.
Right. Sure.
Before we close off, Randy, do you have anything that you wish to say to the viewers?
No, I think you've asked me, a good number of questions, and I was here basically just to share, my motivation for what I do now. And I've said that and done that, and I'm here really for the animals more than anything else at this point. And it'd be nice if the environment obviously is a big factor. That's second. But yeah, I just follow your heart. When you find the thing that turns you on, professionally, personally, whatever, just go with it. That's what I'm doing right now, and I couldn't be more excited about what I'm doing and what the future will hold. So thanks for having me.
It has been a pleasure. And I'm sure, just like me, all our viewers would have thoroughly enjoyed your, walking us through your career journey. It was really intriguing. Thank
Hey,
you so much.
hey, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Viewers, till we meet again.
Thank you.